Train your mind to overcome all kinds of challenges. Every day, countless people give up, not because their challenges were impossible, but because their minds surrendered long before the battle even began. In this transformative teaching, Dr. Myles Munroe reveals the most vital truth. The greatest wars are not fought in the fields, but in the mind. If you can train your mind, you can change your life. What you are facing right now is not your real enemy. Your real fight is how you think about what you face. In this speech, you won't just hear theories. You will be equipped with practical, timeless principles that will rewire your mind for resilience, leadership, and victory. If you are tired of being controlled by fear, by failure, by your environment, then stay with this message until the very end. It will shift your mindset from survival to triumph, from weakness to unshakable strength. Every minute of this speech could be the key to unlocking the future you were born to dominate. The real battlefield is not outside you. It is inside your mind. Every external challenge you face first demands an internal response. Before a man is defeated in the world, he is defeated in his thoughts. Before a woman gives up on her dream, she has already surrendered mentally. Dr. Myles Munroe often emphasized that the mind is the arena where victory or defeat is decided. Long before anything happens physically, your greatest enemy is not the economy, not other people, not your circumstances. It is the untrained, undisciplined mind that surrenders without a fight. When you train your mind, you build an internal stronghold that no outside force can easily break. Life will throw storms at you, disappointments, betrayals, failures. But whether those storms destroy you or refine you depends entirely on the strength of your mindset. If your mind is weak, you will collapse under pressure. If your mind is strong, you will stand firm, not because the storm is weaker, but because you are stronger within. The most dangerous battles you will fight are battles nobody sees. They are the silent wars against discouragement, fear, doubt, self-pity, and hopelessness. They take place when no one is watching, late at night when you are alone with your thoughts, early in the morning when you have to decide whether to rise and fight or stay in the bed of despair. If you cannot win those invisible wars, you will find it impossible to win any visible battle in life. This is why Dr. Munroe taught that the mind must be deliberately trained, disciplined, and directed. You cannot leave your thoughts to chance. An unguarded mind will always drift toward fear, defeat, and limitation. But a trained mind is intentional. It chooses faith over fear. It chooses vision over obstacles. It chooses persistence over quitting. Training your mind is not a one-time event. It is a daily discipline. A daily decision to reject every thought that weakens you and embrace every truth that empowers you. In the end, you will not be defined by what happens to you, but by how your mind responds to what happens to you. Life can be unfair, cruel, and unpredictable. But if your mind is fortified with truth, hope, and courage, you will rise every time you fall. You will fight every time you fail. You will dream again every time you are disappointed. That is the power of a trained mind. Victory is not something you stumble upon. It is something you prepare for internally. The real battlefield is in the mind, and if you can win there, you can win anywhere. It is not the weight of the burden that breaks a person, but the way they choose to carry it. Perspective is the lens through which you interpret every challenge, and it ultimately determines whether you endure or collapse under pressure. Two people can face the same mountain. One sees it as an impossible barrier. The other sees it as an opportunity to rise higher. The mountain did not change. The mindset did. Dr. Myles Munroe taught that if you want to overcome challenges, you must first train your mind to view obstacles correctly. Your endurance is not based on the size of the battle, but on the strength of your perspective. True potential opens a window onto a next level. Perspective turns losses into lessons. It transforms setbacks into setups for greater success. It takes what others call failure and calls it preparation. When you see challenges as necessary steps in your growth, you stop fearing them. You begin to welcome them as part of your training, knowing that the fire refines gold and that struggle produces strength. A wrong perspective makes you see problems as permanent and yourself as powerless, but a trained mind refuses to be a victim of circumstance. It chooses to interpret every event through the lens of possibility, not despair. Your perspective decides how long you can keep going when everything in you wants to quit. If you view the process as meaningless pain, you will run from it at the first sign of difficulty. But if you view the process as a meaningful journey, building your character and enlarging your destiny, you will find the energy to persist, even when progress feels invisible. You will understand that endurance is not about having less struggle. It is about having a deeper reason to keep moving through the struggle. Dr. Munroe reminded us that vision controls perception. If you have no vision for your future, your perspective will shrink in the presence of challenges. But if you have a clear sense of purpose, you will interpret every trial as temporary, every pain as purposeful, every delay as preparation. Challenges will not intimidate you. They will motivate you. Setbacks will not destroy you. They will develop you. When you fix your mind on where you are going, momentary hardships lose their power to paralyze you. At the core of endurance is the decision to believe that something greater lies beyond what you see now. It is the unwavering belief that your present struggle is producing a future glory that outweighs the pain. It is knowing that the challenge is real, but so is your ability to overcome it. And that conviction, that unshakable perspective, will carry you farther than talent, luck, or even opportunity ever could. Perspective determines endurance. Train your mind to see beyond the obstacle, and you will outlast every challenge that dares to stand in your way. One of the greatest challenges you will ever face is learning to master your emotions, especially when life becomes overwhelming. Dr. Myles Munroe taught that while emotions are a natural part of being human, they must never be allowed to lead your life. The mind must be trained to govern emotions, not the other way around. Mental discipline is the force that brings order to emotional chaos. It anchors you when storms of fear, anger, disappointment, and confusion threaten to pull you away from your purpose. Without mental discipline, you become a slave to whatever emotion is strongest in the moment. But when your mind is trained, you become the master of your emotional world, able to respond instead of react. Emotional turbulence can make the smallest problem seem overwhelming and cause the greatest opportunities to look like threats. A person whose mind is untrained will allow fear to magnify obstacles and minimize potential. They will let anger burn bridges that were meant to carry them to their destiny. They will let sadness paralyze them from taking action. But mental discipline steps in and reminds the heart that feelings are temporary, while decisions based on truth are eternal. Discipline teaches you to pause, reflect, and choose your response wisely instead of being tossed by every wave of emotion that rises within you. Dr. Munroe often emphasized that emotions are indicators, not dictators. They can signal something important happening within or around you, but they should never be given control of the steering wheel of your life. A disciplined mind acknowledges emotions without being overwhelmed by them. It listens to what they reveal, but then makes choices rooted in principle, purpose, and wisdom. Discipline doesn't suppress emotions. It puts them in their rightful place as servants, not masters. Training your mind to discipline your emotions does not happen overnight. It requires conscious practice, daily reflection, and a commitment to growth. It means refusing to act on every impulse. It means learning to sit with discomfort without letting it define your next move. It means feeding your mind with truth, faith, and vision until your internal voice becomes stronger than the noise of your feelings. Over time, your emotions will mature under the leadership of a disciplined mind. And what once caused you to break down will now build you up. In a world that celebrates reacting quickly and loudly, mental discipline becomes a rare and powerful strength. It allows you to maintain clarity when others are confused, peace when others are panicking, and direction when others are lost. Emotional stability doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. It means you feel deeply, but are rooted even deeper in truth. When you train your mind to lead your emotions, you gain the ability to remain steady, no matter how fierce the storms of life may become. And that stability becomes your superpower in a world full of instability. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not the ones you see with your eyes. They are not the struggles with people, the competition in the marketplace, or even the opposition you encounter in your daily life. The greatest battlefield is the one that exists in your mind. Every defeat and every victory you experience outwardly begins first as a decision internally. Dr. Myles Munroe taught that the mind is the control center of life. If you lose the battle in your mind, you will lose it in your world. But if you can win the battle within, then no outside force has the power to defeat you permanently. Every day, thoughts enter your mind. Thoughts of fear, doubt, insecurity, resentment, hopelessness. These are not random. They are seeds planted by your environment, by your past experiences, by voices of negativity, and by your own fears. If you allow these seeds to grow unchecked, they will produce a harvest of defeat. Your mind will create a prison that limits your potential long before any circumstance can. But when you recognize that you have the authority and responsibility to guard your mind, you begin to step into real freedom. Freedom does not start outside of you. It starts when you train your mind to believe in possibilities, to focus on solutions, and to envision victory, even when circumstances are shouting defeat. The mind is powerful because it interprets reality. Two people can experience the same situation. One grows bitter and the other grows better. The difference is not in the event, it is in how their minds processed it. When your mind is untrained, you see obstacles as dead ends and setbacks as reasons to quit. When your mind is trained, you see obstacles as opportunities to grow and setbacks as setups for a greater comeback. Dr. Munroe often said that the mind is where destiny is either birthed or aborted. Your future is not determined by external forces. It is shaped by internal choices. Training your mind is not easy. It requires vigilance. You must be aware of the thoughts you allow to dwell in your mind. You must challenge every belief that tells you you are not enough. You must fight every lie that says your past defines you or that your limitations are permanent. Training your mind means feeding it daily with truth, hope, and vision. It means surrounding yourself with environments, people, and messages that strengthen your inner man, not weaken it. The battlefield of the mind is won through repetition and resilience. Every time you choose faith over fear, every time you choose perseverance over quitting, every time you choose hope over despair, you are winning. And as you continue to win these small battles, they accumulate into a life of strength, purpose, and victory. You must remember that you are not what happens to you. You are what you decide to become, despite what happens to you. Life will test you. Circumstances will challenge you. People will disappoint you. But none of these have the final say. The final outcome is decided in your mind, in the choices you make about how you will respond, how you will believe, and how you will move forward. In the end, the greatest wars are not outside, but within. And if you can conquer the battlefield of your own mind, mastering your thoughts, disciplining your perspectives, and choosing hope over fear, then no weapon formed against you can ever prosper. Your mind, when trained, becomes the greatest weapon you will ever wield against the challenges of life. The mind is not a machine that you set once and forget. It is a living part of you that is constantly shaped, influenced, and molded by what you feed it. Dr. Myles Munroe powerfully taught that the mind must be renewed daily because every day brings new battles, new challenges, and new opportunities. You cannot face today's giants with yesterday's mindset. You cannot overcome tomorrow's obstacles with last year's convictions. Renewal is not a one-time event. It is a daily commitment to sharpen your thoughts, refresh your vision, and realign your focus with truth and purpose. Every single day, the world around you is trying to program your mind. Fear is broadcasted through news, negativity is spread through conversations, distractions fill your environment, and doubt is sown into your dreams. If you are not intentionally renewing your mind, you are unconsciously allowing it to decay. A mind left unattended becomes a playground for fear, insecurity, and mediocrity. Renewal is your defense. It is the act of waking up each morning and choosing to direct your thoughts before the world does. It is deciding that your beliefs will be stronger than the voices trying to shape you into something less than your destiny. Renewing your mind means you expose yourself daily to truth. It means you consume content that feeds your spirit, not your fears. It means you reflect on your goals, your calling, and your identity until they are more real to you than the challenges you face. Renewal happens when you challenge your own assumptions, when you question the lies you've believed about yourself, and when you replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Today, it is a process of unlearning the world's messages of defeat and relearning the timeless principles of purpose, resilience, and greatness. Dr. Munroe would often say that greatness is not achieved in a moment of inspiration, but through the daily discipline of renewing your mind. You cannot rise above the level of your thinking. If your mind is full of scarcity, you will live in limitation. If your mind is full of bitterness, you will live in bondage. But if your mind is renewed daily with vision, gratitude, faith, and courage, your life will expand and your influence will grow. The renewal of your mind determines the renewal of your life. This process is not automatic. It requires awareness, effort, and consistency. It requires starting each day with intentional reflection, prayer, reading, or meditation on truths that uplift and empower you. It requires surrounding yourself with people and environments that challenge you to think bigger, live stronger, and reach higher. It requires vigilance against the slow creep of negativity, the subtle acceptance of excuses, and the quiet erosion of your dreams. Every day you renew your mind, you strengthen your inner foundation. You prepare yourself to respond to life's unexpected storms with wisdom instead of panic, with hope instead of despair. You build resilience that cannot be shaken by circumstances because your mind has been anchored in something deeper than what you see. It is anchored in who you are and what you are called to become. In the end, success is not just about opportunity or talent. It is about daily preparation, and that preparation begins in the mind. If you are willing to commit to the daily renewal of your thoughts, you will find yourself becoming the kind of person who not only overcomes challenges, but transforms them into stepping stones for destiny. Your mind is the birthplace of your future. Renew it daily, and you will renew your life daily as well. The most influential conversation you will ever have is not with another person. It is the one you have with yourself every single day. Dr. Myles Munroe emphasized that self-talk is one of the most powerful tools for either building your future or sabotaging it. The words you speak internally, the thoughts you rehearse, the beliefs you affirm are constantly shaping your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. Whether you realize it or not, you are always listening to yourself. What you allow yourself to hear repeatedly determines what you believe, and what you believe determines what you do. If you continuously tell yourself that you are not capable, not worthy, or not strong enough, you will unconsciously live out that story. No matter how much opportunity is in front of you, you will sabotage your own progress because your internal narrative does not match your external possibilities. On the other hand, if you train your mind to speak truth, strength, and purpose into your soul, you will begin to act with greater courage, make bolder decisions, and persevere through adversity. Self-talk is not just motivational, it is transformational. It plants seeds that grow into habits, and habits create the architecture of your life. Positive self-talk is not about denying reality or pretending that difficulties do not exist. It is about choosing which reality you will amplify. Challenges are real, but so is your ability to overcome them. Fear is real, but so is your capacity for courage. Failure is real, but so is the power of persistence and learning. What you say to yourself either feeds your fears or fuels your faith. It either enlarges your possibilities or shrinks them. Every word matters. Every thought counts. Dr. Munroe taught that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and that includes the tongue you use when you speak to yourself. If you declare over yourself words of defeat, you attract defeat. If you declare over yourself words of victory, you attract strength. Your mind is constantly recording your self-talk and aligning your emotions and behavior to match what it hears. Over time, you either become the product of your fears or the product of your affirmations. Intentionally speak life into your vision, strength into your actions, and resilience into your soul. When doubt interrupting negative spirals with truth, when fear says, "You can't do this," you answer, "I am equipped and I am growing." When doubt whispers, "You will fail," you respond, "Every step forward is progress, and I will not quit." You intentionally speak life into your vision, strength into your actions, and resilience into your soul. This is not mindless optimism. It is a strategic discipline of speaking what builds you rather than what breaks you. Over time, as you master the art of empowering self-talk, you will notice your confidence grow, your peace deepen, and your persistence strengthen. You will no longer need external validation to move forward because the voice within you will be stronger than the voices around you. You will become your own greatest encourager, coach, and motivator. Challenges that once intimidated you will now excite you because your internal world will be wired for growth, not defeat. Ultimately, your life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts and words. If you want to change your outcomes, you must first change your internal dialogue. If you want to live differently, you must think and speak differently to yourself. Speak words of faith, courage, and vision into your mind every day, and you will shape a life that reflects those very same qualities. Your future begins with the words you are speaking to yourself right now. Choose them wisely. Choose them powerfully. Discipline and consistency are the twin pillars of success, the foundational forces that transform potential into results. Without these two qualities, talent, dreams, and ambition remain unfulfilled promises. Dr. Myles Munroe consistently emphasized that the path to greatness is not paved with brilliance alone, but with consistent effort and the ability to stay disciplined in the pursuit of your goals. It's easy to be inspired by a new idea or excited by a vision of success. But what separates those who reach their goals from those who fall short is the ability to show up every day regardless of how you feel or what challenges you face. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent day in and day out in the pursuit of your purpose. The key to mastery, to achievement, and to success lies in the mundane, the repetitive actions, the small choices you make each day. It's easy to be swept up in the allure of instant gratification, to want the results without the work. But Dr. Munroe taught that discipline is what takes you from where you are to where you want to be. It is the steady, committed process of doing what needs to be done, even when it feels hard, even when the results aren't immediate, and even when you don't feel motivated. Discipline isn't an emotion, it's a choice. It's about being willing to do the hard work now for the reward you will receive later. The discipline to stay on track is a mindset. It's about creating habits that serve your goals rather than hinder them. It means choosing to read, practice, or work toward your dreams every day, even when you don't see immediate progress. The power of discipline is that it compounds over time. The small, seemingly insignificant actions that you take consistently create momentum and propel you forward. In the same way that a tiny stream can carve out a canyon over time, small, disciplined actions accumulate to create massive results. Consistency, however, is often the most challenging part of discipline. People may start strong, fueled by enthusiasm and a burst of motivation, but when the initial excitement fades, discipline becomes a challenge. The road to success is long, and many people give up before they can see the fruits of their labor. This is where consistency becomes crucial. You must commit to showing up every day, not just when you feel like it, but especially when you don't. Success doesn't come from occasional effort or bursts of motivation. It comes from the ability to keep going, to keep pushing through the resistance, even when the progress seems slow or invisible. Dr. Munroe often spoke about the need for a daily commitment to growth. This consistency doesn't just apply to career or external achievements, but also to personal development. It means choosing to grow as a person, to build character, to strengthen your mental and emotional resilience, and to expand your vision every day. Growth requires the discipline to learn, to reflect, and to evolve. Consistency means showing up for your life every single day with intention, even on the days when you feel overwhelmed or discouraged. The power of discipline and consistency also lies in its ability to shape your character. Success is not just about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. The person you are becoming through disciplined action is the true reward. Discipline forces you to develop patience, perseverance, and focus. Qualities that not only help you achieve your goals, but also shape your internal world. Through the consistency of your actions, you develop resilience and a mindset that refuses to quit no matter the obstacles you face. Over time, the practice of discipline becomes second nature. It becomes part of your identity. This process is what Dr. Munroe referred to as the cultivation of personal mastery. Personal mastery isn't achieved through occasional effort or sporadic bursts of energy. It's the result of everyday decisions, small actions taken over time, and the discipline to stay the course no matter what. It's about developing the self-control to stay focused on the bigger picture and not be swayed by momentary distractions or setbacks. Personal mastery requires a commitment to consistency, and it's this commitment that ultimately leads to the extraordinary. Remember that discipline is not just about creating habits, it's about aligning your habits with your deepest desires and highest potential. It's about making choices today that will build the future you desire. The daily commitment to discipline is what turns dreams into reality. So when the excitement fades, when the obstacles rise, and when the road seems long, remember that success isn't about how hard you work for a short time. It's about the consistent effort you put in day after day, no matter what. Discipline paired with consistency will take you from where you are to where you want to be. In the end, discipline and consistency are the engines that drive achievement. They are the forces that turn vision into action, dreams into tangible results. The key is to remain committed, to keep moving forward even when it feels difficult, and to trust that your consistent effort will pay off. Success, growth, and mastery are the product of disciplined, consistent action. And once you understand this, the sky is the limit.